Sagittarius friends, sudden shifts in your closest relationships might actually catch you off guard this week. They might force a breakdown of codependency in your life if it exists and force you to establish true relational freedom. What's going to happen? I'll tell you what, it's utterly fated. Let's find out more with your horoscope today. Friends, this video is a forecast for your sun, your moon, or your rising sign. You can check out all three videos, and they're going to tell you how the stars are going to affect your life this week. I'm Kesenya, and welcome to the Astro News and Weather Report for the third week of June 2026. Don't forget, everyone, this is tropical Vedic astrology, not sidereal astrology. Do look it up if you need to. And yes, I am a real person, not AI. So on the 20th of June, this is the key feature we're looking at in the week ahead, and it's a doozy. Uranus will exactly square the nodes at 3 degrees and 9 minutes. They've been tangoing very close to one another in the preceding days up until this point, but they become exact on the 20th. So we are absolutely under this energy at this time. So pow, this energy is bold, big, and exceptional, and it only occurs roughly every 8 years. It's not common, it's not ordinary. So did you experience an important life shift back in 2018? It's likely to have been the result of this big, powerful event in the sky, Uranus squaring the nodes. And those themes that happened back then may be getting to make a repeat in your life in some way, shape, or form now. And it's all fated. Anything to do with the nodes becomes very fated indeed. So are you ready for a surprising and life-changing shift? Because here it comes. So nobody said this energy was easy. It is a square aspect to the south node and the north node, as you'll see in the little piece of chart footage that I've got here on the screen with me. Nobody said this was easy. The aspects are harsh, but it will get you unstuck. It may create some chaos, but possibly in the end, it's going to take you more to your destiny and put you in a more self-sufficient position in life. That's what Uranus wants to achieve, after all. So you will want to embrace your own truth. You won't stand for pretense or fakeness or falseness anymore, either yours or other people's. And you may even up and abandon everything that you thought you knew or thought that you wanted from life. This is an energy of sudden impacts, shocks, and life-changing redirectioning. Get ready for it all, my friends, and that's what this video is actually designed to do for you. Now, it may have global effects. We are, I believe, already seeing some of those effects at play in the geopolitical area. But on a collective level, this transit stirs restlessness within the masses and restlessness with the status quo. The way life is not satisfying anymore. We've had about a gutful of certain elements of the way life is unfolding. There's going to be a lot of differences of opinion around this time, particularly when it comes to Uranian things like technology, community dynamics, friendships, individuality, and our general direction as a society. These things could become especially divisive now. They could be potentially damaging. They might sever alliances and relationships of all kinds. We can also expect in a global level changes on societal and technological levels that will really alter the collective path of humanity. Going against the grain and societal disapproval, these are key themes. We're already seeing it. If you get your news from social media sources, it's out there. Mainstream media won't touch on any of this, but it's absolutely happening. Like, just take a look at what's going on in Ireland right now, if you want an example of this. You know, it is about going against the mainstream narrative and the mainstream norm. That's very Uranian, and it's fractious as it does so with a square to the nodes. But this is part of our collective, I'll get my words right, destiny. Cooperation doesn't come easily at times like this. And yet what we're seeing, for example, in Ireland does sort of herald the potential for a collective movement, for a revolution. And there are other themes at play at the moment besides just this Uranus square to the nodes. We have a trine to Pluto. We have a sextile from Uranus to Neptune as well. That is really holding space and helping this theme to perhaps have more positive momentum than it might otherwise do at other times. This was certainly not the case in 2018 when this dynamic last formed. But what about how it's going to affect you personally? In evolutionary astrology, Uranus represents our need to free ourselves from the conditioning that's been forced upon us by our culture, whatever culture that may happen to be for you. Culture's rules, culture's expectations. You might not even be aware that you have been conditioned, but believe me, everybody has to some extent, some people more than others. But those of us who hunger for awakening, who hunger for greater awareness, and who want to be deconditioned out of societal constructs are going to find that this transit is an absolute blessing despite the upheavals that it might bring. Those who still love mainstream media, those who believe that the government acts in their best interests, those who don't want to acknowledge the true root of darkness in society will find that this transit is tremendously challenging because Uranus is going to shake us all off the fence quite forcefully in some way. So it's a time that we're going to need to increase our awareness in order to choose wisely. The choices that the universe is requiring us to make may not be obvious at this time either, and it might be a case of having to take the path less trodden to get to a much better outcome. This transit can bring the biggest of life disruptions. Think sudden endings, sudden beginnings, changes in life direction, new ideas and breakthroughs that you would never have anticipated popping into your life in amazing ways. So here are a couple of questions that you might like to ponder on or journal about in the lead up to this energy becoming exact. Firstly, where were you 8 years ago, around November 2018? And what feels similar to you now about the circumstances you're in? Secondly, question yourself, are you clinging to the past, to old ways of doing things, to old beliefs out of a state of fear of the new, or are you bold enough to step into something that is completely unknown now? In what ways do you deny the truths that keep knocking at your door? Now, this might be the beliefs that you have despite all the evidence you're seeing to the contrary, or the relationships that you keep rehashing over and over and over when you know you should just let them go, or the choices you make that speak to compliance with society instead of the liberation that Uranus actually may want for you. If the universe was to radically shift something in your life right now, what would you want it to be? I'd suggest putting that out there to the universe and asking for the shift and the dynamic and the change to occur in that field of life, because the universe is ready to rock the boat and may just do it in your favor now. So now we're going to go through the influences for each sign. And remember, my friends, to check out your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign, because all will be relevant to some degree or another in your life. Ooh, Sagittarius with Uranus squaring the nodes from your 7th house of relationships. This is a doozy. It will manifest in big, bold ways, as things always do when they are angular. Your closest relationships, Sagittarius, are about to get very interesting. For some, forewarned, forearmed here, it could look like a sudden breakup. For some, it might look like an unexpected commitment that you make, or a major shakeup in the life of someone that you're closely partnered with. So it may not be affecting you in that way, it might be affecting your partner in some way, and it throws your whole relational world into question. The patterns that you've been repeating in relationships, they're about to become very visible. Get ready. It's a big week of revelations and epiphanies about relationship. So all those relationship rules, the timelines, the traditional roles, the idea that love has to look a specific way, and wear that mask for the world to see, oh yes, we're in love, we look like a Hallmark card, we're blah, blah, blah. All those things are getting interrogated this week thanks to Uranus square the nodes. And you're going to start noticing how much of your relationship behavior has been about fitting into a mold, an expectation that may have come from the movies or might have come from the way you watched your parents' dynamic, rather than simply connecting in a way that feels real and true for you and your partner. So it's shaking up those old dynamics, those past ideas of relationship. There's an invitation with this square to the nodes this week by Uranus, and that is to build partnerships that are genuinely equal, that are freeing, that are real, even if they don't look like what everybody expects them to look like, you know? Something also for you, Sagittarius, could be playing out in a public dynamic. So this could look like maybe a contract that suddenly comes to an end or concludes, or an opponent shows up in your life. This is a house of open enemies in some schools of astrology, and you might suddenly find that you're challenged in some way, or somebody is, butting heads with you in some way. It could also look like a partnership dissolves unexpectedly, and you never thought that it would. But whatever happens out in the open, the idea is that it's going to force you to look inward. Okay, well, what did I do to contribute to that relationship falling apart? What did I do that caused that person to butt heads with me? And that's the best way to approach this dynamic, is to take responsibility, because you're part of this relationship axis. It's not just all them. It's about looking at the seesaw. How do I balance it? What do I need to do to bring things back into equilibrium and create win-win situations? You know what, Sagittarius, the people who challenge you most this week, they're basically holding up a mirror to the parts of you that you might have been avoiding or putting your head in the sand about. This is the karmic journey. And if you can face the mirror and embrace what you see there and change what needs changing, you're going to liberate yourself as well as liberate the people that you're interacting with. Uranus square the nodes can actually bring somebody into your life from the past in order to force you to actually wrap up a situation completely where maybe it was left dangling. So you might be forced to revisit some old relationship patterns, or actually a literal person that you had a relationship with. It could be a business relationship or a client or a marriage that's long gone. So that can happen. Or it could be, if you're a single Sagittarius person, and also partnered as well for that matter, that there might be somebody that comes into your life this week that shakes you out of a rut, that gets you feeling unstuck. So all the changes in life that you experience this week are going to come from other people influencing you. So it could be, if you're single, you meet somebody and they radically changed your world. It could be, like the love of your life comes in. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. It may not last forever, but it's going to be like liberating while it's there. If you're partnered, it could be that you meet somebody eccentric and brilliant who inspires you, who gets you off this rutted road that you've been on, in your business, or, in how you're dealing with the general public or something, and suddenly you find the way forward through somebody else's inspiration and dynamic coming into your life. It's all karmic this week, my friends. Uranus square the nodes. It's a big week of karma for everyone. And if you want to understand more about your soul's journey, then why not join me for my Karmic Astrology Masterclass? You'll get a free astrological goddess report based on your personal birth chart when you do. And look, the feedback that I've had for this masterclass has blown me away. I know the wisdom here is going to transform your life too. So join the class through the link in the description below. I know you're going to love it.